So let's get to Elijah Crawford, a 2025 recruit. He is 6'3". Really, it's listed at 6'2.5", but I'll bump him up to 6'3", 285 pounds. He is a 3-star defensive lineman from Owings Mills, Maryland. He committed to Syracuse on Friday night, as I mentioned. He chose the Orange over Rutgers and West Virginia. Those were the two schools in competition, or the two main ones in competition for Elijah Crawford. It's also nice that they got him over Rutgers. Rutgers had been stealing some Syracuse recruits recently, mainly Michael Thomas, a 4-star wide receiver. So while they might not be the same caliber of recruit, it's nice that Syracuse does beat out a regional rival in Rutgers for someone. In this case, it's Elijah Crawford, a 3-star defensive lineman. His junior year stats, he had 39 tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. Tough to take anything away in terms of high school stats, but I figured it's information you might want to know. So that's what he did in his junior year. He still has another year to improve, right? He's a class of 2025. He's not going to be on campus this year. It would be next year. Now, as far as what he has said about Syracuse and why he committed to Syracuse, before I give you the quotes from Elijah Crawford, I'm going to spoil it for you. If you are a returning listener, you might have an idea of what I'm about to say in terms of what is important when it comes to recruiting. But if you are a new listener, first of all, welcome. It's great to have you with us. What's important with recruiting, probably the number one thing, to be honest with you, relationships. Building relationships with these kids, because I know there's a lot of talk about money out there, but you cannot even get into the money conversation with a kid if you don't have a relationship with the kid. There's a ton of schools that can throw around money. So how do you separate yourself is building those relationships. Let's get to what Elijah Crawford has said about Syracuse and why he committed. Quote, I chose them for a bunch of reasons, but the biggest is how secure I feel with Coach Elijah. He's talking about Elijah Robinson, the new defensive coordinator, and Coach Fran. What does that tell you? He feels comfortable. That's a good thing. Next, he said, quote, at the end of the day, I'm putting a portion of my future in their hands, and just talking with them over the recruiting process, I'm 100% certain that leaving Syracuse and going to the league or not will have helped me be set for life. Yeah, building relationships is quite important, isn't it? I know NIL money. I know salaries. And if you're a returning listener, you've heard me say it a bunch of times. It's about building relationships in recruiting. To make another comparison for you, Jordan Smith, a 2026 5-star prospect that Syracuse basketball is targeting, the coaching staff flew to Turkey to watch him play in the FIBA U17 World Championships. Jordan Smith, a 2026 recruit, 5 stars. Jordan Smith said literally yesterday that now he is considering a visit to Syracuse. If the coaches don't fly to Turkey to go watch him play, does Jordan Smith give him a look? Maybe eventually. But he's one of the more elite prospects in the country, and you're showing interest in him, and you're trying to build that relationships. You fly to Turkey to watch him play, and now the recruit wants to take a visit to your school. There's no guarantee they get Jordan Smith, but you're going to get a look from him. It's a similar deal with a guy like Elijah Crawford. You watch the kid in high school, you talk to him in high school, you get him on an official visit to your campus, and you build that relationship with him so that when the time comes, you know at the very least that you are going to be in the running for the prospect. You're not going to get every single prospect. You can build a ton of great relationships. You are not going to get everyone when it comes to recruiting. But if you continue to build relationships, first of all, you'll build a good rapport come transfer portal time. And number 2, you might actually end up getting the recruit. There really is no downside to building positive relationships when it comes to recruiting. As far as a scouting report of Elijah Crawford, this is coming from Hudson Standish. He is a recruiting expert. I'm going to paraphrase what he said about him, but basically, Elijah Crawford plays with a lot of effort and he's got good instincts. So that's always nice. But right now, he does lack size. I did say that he is 6'3", but really is 6'2.5". I gave him that extra half inch because don't we all give ourselves a half an inch taller than what we really are? And he's also 285 pounds, but as a defensive lineman, that's a little bit on the smaller end. Here's the good news, though. Here's the good news. He's got an entire senior season to bulk up. Then he has an entire summer at Syracuse to bulk up. So then you have the college weight training, which you got to figure is better than high school weight training. And in all likelihood, because most recruits do this, they will redshirt their freshman year. A redshirt, in case you don't know, means that you sit out a year of college, but you don't lose that year of eligibility. It is incredibly common, and especially in a sport like football, where a lot of these, even the 5-star football players, do not get on the field in their freshman seasons because they are simply not big enough for the college game. So if he takes a redshirt year in his freshman year, that is another full year to train his body and get bigger. So to do the math for you, you got all summer, you got all your senior season, you got probably 1 year at Syracuse before he's really ever going to set foot on the field for the Orange. You're looking at about 2.5 years before he is really much of it. Maybe he does set foot in 2025, but it's unlikely. But overall, you're looking at about 2.5 years to build up his body to be ready for the college game. So if that's his main weakness, if the main concern is size, then hey, he's got plenty of time to bulk up. So overall, I am pleased. Syracuse football gets another commitment in the class of 2025 in 3-star defensive lineman Elijah Crawford.